Story 1. Last week, while my parents sunbathed in Bali and my older brother and his girlfriend lounged in their backyard pool pretending to be suburban royalty, I was wide awake at 3:42 a.m., crouched in the kitchen with a trembling 10-year-old dog clinging to my thigh like a toddler in a war zone. Outside, a storm cracked the sky open like God's angry fist. Inside, my husband sat on the floor in the hallway, rubbing his temples and whispering, "Just 40 more minutes of this." This was night 6. My parents' dog, had peed on our rug twice that day. She wouldn't eat unless hand-fed. She spent 3 hours howling because I forgot to move the coffee maker she doesn't like. My own dog, 5 years old and perfect, had retreated under the bed 2 days ago and hasn't come out since. And upstairs? In my guest bedroom? A half-packed suitcase from our canceled trip to Vermont. That's right. We were supposed to be on vacation. Last year when my parents asked us to watch their dog again, I thought, sure. Family. Then I found out my older brother, who also has a dog, by the way, was staying at my parents' house the entire time, ordering takeout and lounging like some kind of soft-bodied pool goblin. He didn't lift a finger. This year, it happened again. My parents asked us to dog sit. We canceled our plans. My husband even took time off work. And what did my older brother do? He moved into their house. Again. Used their pool. Washed his laundry. Played house with his girlfriend like he was living a filtered Instagram life. Meanwhile, I'm administering Benadryl and swaddling a 60-pound neurotic husky in a thunder vest like some kind of trauma nurse. I finally snapped when I opened Instagram and saw a photo they'd posted. My brother and his girlfriend, grinning poolside, drinks in hand, captioned, "House sitting for the rents. Living the dream." The comments? "Cutest couple. You guys should totally live there full time. Who's watching Bella?" No answer. No tag. No mention of the fact that we were spending every night watching their aging, anxiety-riddled dog who thinks the sound of a fridge compressor means imminent doom. It wasn't just the storm. It was years of storms. Years of swallowing it. My older brother has never watched our dog. Not once. Not for a weekend. He's never even offered. Last Christmas, when we asked him to, he said, "Dogs make me nervous." Then promptly posted a video of himself wrestling with his girlfriend's new puppy on his parents' carpet. My younger brother has his own place. He's offered once or twice, but he works nights and has roommates and the dog doesn't do well there. So it's always us. The reliable ones. The responsible couple with the yard. That night, after the storm passed and the dog finally collapsed in a panting heap, I went upstairs, pulled out my phone, and drafted a message I've rewritten a dozen times since. I never sent it. Not yet. But here's what it says. If you need someone to care for your dog while you travel, ask the people using your house as a free vacation rental. We're done. Not dramatic. Not angry. Just done. Because I don't mind helping family. I really don't. But I've realized that some people will watch you drown while sipping drinks from your parents' hot tub and then act confused when you stop swimming. Next time, they can let the storm in. Let's see how their poolside romance handles that. Story 2. The invitation came in a glittery envelope addressed to only my fiancé. Not Alex and Jamie. Not Alex and guest. Just Alex. My name wasn't even scribbled in as an afterthought. Like I didn't exist. But I did. I existed enough to be excluded. Let me rewind. I've been with Alex for 4 years. We're engaged. We live together. We share a car, a mortgage, and a dog. We're not dating, we're in this for the long haul. The problem? His sister-in-law never got over his last girlfriend. The ex. They were besties back when she and Alex dated. Wine nights. Zumba classes. Instagram selfies with captions like "sisters before misters." And when Alex broke it off amicably, I might add, his sister-in-law didn't just mourn the relationship. She took it personally. Like she had been dumped. From day one, she's made her dislike of me clear. Backhanded compliments. "Oh wow, you're still together?" Side eyes during family dinners. Once she literally said, the ex would never let Alex skip church on Easter. I bit my tongue. For years. Because family harmony, right? Then came the invitation. The one for my nephew's back-to-school party. They're making a big deal of it: decorations, bounce house, catered food. And a guest list. A very curated guest list. A few months ago, sister-in-law casually mentioned that the ex would be coming. "She's so good with the kids," she said. "And she misses them. She's practically family." I thought she was joking. Alex didn't. He went quiet in that dangerous way. Said nothing in the moment, but in the car on the way home, he said, "I'm not doing this. I'm not walking into another party where she pretends like I'm still hers and you're just the rebound." So we declined. Politely. No drama. Just, "Hey, we won't be able to make it." Since then, the whisper campaign began. They're making everything about them. They can't even come to a kid's party without being dramatic. They're just insecure. And then the final punch. The invitation that didn't include my name. Felt intentional. Petty. Like a power move from someone who doesn't have as much power as she thinks. It's a kid's party, sure. But family dynamics don't pause for cupcakes and balloon arches. It's about respect. It's about knowing that inviting your brother's ex, knowing full well it would upset him and his fiancée, sends a very clear message. You don't matter. Your relationship doesn't matter. She matters more. I've never asked them to cut her off. I've never told them to stop being friends. But inviting her to family functions, where I'm supposed to feel like part of the family, is a slap in the face. So no, we're not going. Not because we're sensitive. Because we have boundaries. Because we're choosing not to smile through another evening of side glances and whispered reminiscing about the good old days. Because we're building a future that doesn't include people who keep looking backward. And if that makes us the villains, so be it. We'll be the villains with peace, dignity, and no glitter envelopes in our mailbox ever again. Story 3. I never thought a single sentence could crack the foundation of my identity like glass beneath a steel boot. At the family reunion last weekend, tables lined with dollar store balloons and mismatched folding chairs. My father raised his glass during the toast and said, "I'm proud of all my children, except the loser who never fit in." He didn't even look at me when he said it, but everyone knew who he meant. The laughter that followed was the worst part. It wasn't explosive, just low, uncomfortable chuckles, like a room full of people trying not to be seen picking sides. No one defended me. No one stopped him. My siblings stared at their plates. My mother blinked and smiled like nothing happened. I stood up, didn't yell, didn't flinch, just walked over, placed a sealed envelope in front of him, and said, "This is for you, Dad. Happy Father's Day." Then I turned and walked out. No fireworks, no breakdown, just stillness. The only sound was the clink of his glass as he set it down to open the envelope. 10 minutes later, I heard from my cousin that he screamed, because inside was the title and registration for the luxury car I gave him last year, revoked and signed back over to me, and a copy of the cease and desist letter, drafted by my attorney, prohibiting him from using my name, likeness, or business affiliation in any capacity going forward. See, the loser he dismissed so casually built a tech company from scratch, sold it for mid-8 figures. He used to brag about me at the golf club until I declined to fund his newest failing startup. That's when I became the black sheep again. I also included one more thing in the envelope, a photograph. Me, age 10, sitting on the steps outside our house, bleeding from a split lip after a disciplinary talk. No one helped me then either. No one asked why I never cried. I kept the car. It's in storage now. I don't need it. But he doesn't get to drive around in symbols of my success while calling me a disappointment. They say you can't choose your family, but you can choose how much access they get. And as I sat alone that night, eating takeout on the balcony of my apartment, miles from the sound of that laughter, I realized something. They never loved me, just the idea of what I could give them. As long as I played the part, I was acceptable. But the second I stepped outside the frame, I was expendable. And what do you do with something expendable? You remove it from circulation. So I'm done. No more reunions. No more fake toasts. No more buying silence with gifts and acceptance with paychecks. I'm not their scapegoat. I'm not their investment. I'm not their loser. I'm their reckoning. So tell me, what would you have done? Because I didn't make a scene. I didn't fight back. I just gave him something heavier than any insult. The weight of consequence. And it hit harder than anything I could have said. Story 4. I'm 51. I haven't taken a real vacation since before everything changed in 2020. Life's been heavy. Between full-time work, caring for my husband after his injury, and managing a house that always seems to need something, I feel like I've aged a decade in 3 years. So when I got the invite for the family reunion, 5 hours away, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. A spark. The idea of seeing my cousins, sharing laughs over old photo albums, and maybe drinking a glass of wine without watching the clock, it felt like a breath I've been holding for years. My husband didn't share the enthusiasm. He's been struggling since going back to work after his injury. The adjustment hasn't been easy, and I've spent months walking on eggshells, trying to keep his spirits from sinking too low. I took time off to care for him, drove him to every appointment, filled out every form. I didn't mind. He's my partner. That's what love is. But when I finally told him I got the time off and was planning the trip, the first thing out of his mouth wasn't, "That's great," or "You deserve this." No, he volunteered me to drive my elderly father and his wife to the reunion. Without asking. My father later told me he wasn't feeling well and wouldn't be attending, but the fact remains my husband didn't ask. He just assumed. Like I'm a free shuttle. Like my time doesn't cost me anything. That's kind of his thing. He blurts out plans to others, hoping to look generous or helpful while I'm the one left to clean up the logistics. I don't think it's cruel, it's more like social awkwardness mixed with willful blindness. He doesn't see the labor. The me. And then, just when I made peace with the idea of going alone, the other shoe dropped. My sister. She texted me less than a week before the reunion to say she and her husband and their 2 young kids would be flying in right after the reunion ends. No warning. No, "Hey, what's your schedule like?" Just a group text telling me their arrival time like I'm airport staff. She does this every year, and every year I say the same thing, please, just a little notice? She works in education. Summer's off. She has the freedom to plan. I don't. But I'm the one who has to scramble to clean the house, stock the fridge, host the barbecue. And if I don't? I'm the rude sister. The one who didn't even make time for family. The truth? I want to see them. I want to reconnect. But I don't want to be steamrolled anymore. I'm tired of being the default person. The one who's expected to shift, sacrifice, smile. So yes, I'm going to the reunion. Alone. And I'm going to enjoy every minute of it, every laugh, every story, every awkward cousin photo. And when my sister texts to say they've landed, I might not be home. Or I might just hand them a list of local restaurants and say, you'll love the brisket here. I'm resting today. Because for once I want to be consulted. Not assumed. And honestly, I think that's fair. Story 5. English isn't my first language, so bear with me if something sounds weird. Today was supposed to be normal. Just a nice visit to my boyfriend's place. His parents weren't home, which meant we had some privacy. One thing led to another, and we were intimate. All was good. Afterward, he asked me to throw the used protection away outside, just to be extra careful not to leave any traces in his bathroom trash. Made sense. So I picked it up, wrapped it in some tissue, and tucked it into my pocket like some cursed souvenir I couldn't wait to get rid of. Except, I forgot. We met up with some friends, had snacks, chatted about weekend plans, and I completely forgot what I was carrying. Hours later, I get home, sit on my bed, and reach into my pocket to find it. A crumpled, very used, very unpleasant surprise. Instant panic. I couldn't throw it in the bathroom trash. My parents are ridiculously nosy and always checking it before taking it out. I considered the kitchen bin, but that felt like trying to bury evidence in the middle of a crime scene. So, I panicked harder and made the worst decision. I opened the small folding bathroom window. Now, this window doesn't open like a door. It tilts outward just a little. There's maybe enough space to slide 2 fingers out. But from that angle, I could see freedom. The open sky. The promise of a world where this disaster was no longer mine to deal with. I held the tissue-wrapped mistake between my fingertips. I aimed. I released. And I missed. It slipped and stuck. Right? On. The. Outside. Windowsill. A silent, horrifying symbol of my shame now on full display to anyone who looks up at the 5th floor. And did I mention that the window doesn't open fully? There's no way to reach it. I tried everything. Bent a hanger into a hook and pushed it out as far as I could. Used a mop handle balanced on the edge of the sink, nearly fell. Blasted it with a hairdryer from inside, hoping a gust of air would carry it away like an awkward leaf. Nothing worked. And now I live in fear. Every time the wind blows, I imagine it flying off and hitting someone's balcony. Every time I hear my mom mention something weird outside, my heart drops into my stomach. Every time I go into the bathroom, I stare at the window like it personally betrayed me. I've created an art installation of regret. A monument to teenage panic. So, what do? Should I fake needing help with something on the roof and notice the mess from above? Should I call building maintenance and say, hi, there's a mysterious thing stuck outside my bathroom and it's definitely not something embarrassing? Or should I just move? Because right now, that's feeling like the only option. Update: the universe has a strange sense of humor. This morning, while brushing my teeth and mentally preparing for another day of pretending everything's normal, I glanced up at the window. It was gone. The tissue-wrapped disaster? Vanished. At first, I panicked. Did the wind finally take it? Did it land on someone's balcony? Someone's dog? Then I saw it. Perched triumphantly on the railing just outside, beak full, wings fluttering, eyes like tiny judgmental cameras, was a pigeon. A fearless, glorious, garbage-obsessed pigeon. It had taken the entire thing. Flew off like some cursed delivery bird sent by destiny. I stood there, toothbrush in hand, mouth full of foam, whispering thank you like it was a war hero. I don't know where it took it. I don't care. But I do know this. That bird? That's my ride or die now. My unsung savior. Pigeon of the 5th floor, you have my eternal gratitude. Story 6. I'm 15. Just started my 2nd year of high school. Last week, I broke up with someone who meant a lot to me, my girlfriend of 10 months. She's 18 now. Almost 19. Getting her own place. Planning her adult life. And I'm still asking permission to stay out past 10. We started dating when I was 14 and she was 17. At first, it didn't feel weird. We clicked. Hard. Like puzzle pieces, like one of those rare connections that doesn't care about age, school, or circumstance. I felt seen. She made me feel like I wasn't just some awkward kid trying to figure out who he was. With her, I could be real. Her family was kind, warm, loud in a way mine never was. We'd eat dinner at her place and I'd forget the world outside even existed. Her little brother would call me dude and her dad used to joke that I was the only guy her mom actually liked. It felt like home. But then something shifted. Not with her, she was still great. Too great, maybe? It was everything around us that changed. She started talking about getting an apartment. Her job was picking up. College classes, roommates, rent, adult stuff. Real life. And I was still walking the hallways with a backpack and a half-charged Chromebook. My parents weren't thrilled. They never said anything mean about her. But they got tense. Kept asking, what do you even talk about with someone that age? Or, don't you think she should be dating someone her age? I brushed it off. Until her family started asking the same thing. They didn't say it to my face, but I heard things. Little comments. Like her mom saying, he's sweet, but he's still a kid. Or her sister asking, you really see yourself waiting around for prom night? I didn't know what to do with that. Because I wasn't pretending I was older than I am. I wasn't trying to lock her down or drag her back. I just liked her. A lot. Maybe even loved her. But I knew I was becoming the weight she'd have to carry. And she didn't deserve that. She deserved someone who could meet her halfway, not someone still figuring out algebra and curfews. So I did the one thing that felt more like protecting her than hurting her. I let her go. It was quiet. Sad. No yelling. Just a long talk on a park bench where I told her I loved what we had, but I couldn't be the reason she felt stuck. And she cried. I did too, later, in my room where no one could hear. People asked me why I ended something so perfect. Someone even joked that I must have cheated. We laughed, but it hurt. Because it was perfect. Too perfect for a world that wouldn't let it survive. I miss her. Every day. But I don't regret it. Because love isn't just about holding on. Sometimes it's knowing when to let someone live their story even if it means not being in the next chapter. So no, I don't think I was the villain. I think I was the one who finally realized growing up doesn't always mean growing together. And that's okay. Story 7. I never thought a conversation about fast food would be what snapped the thread. I'm 27. She's 28. We've been together for over a year, long enough to know each other's moods, patterns, and pressure points. But last night turned into one of those pointless, spiral arguments that somehow pulls everything else down with it. It started simple. I work 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and we were texting around 4 p.m. trying to figure out what she wanted to eat. She was planning to spend the night. I asked her if she was hungry. She said no, which I already knew meant yes, but not yet. Eventually she says Chipotle. Cool. Easy. But then I offered, hey, what about In-N-Out? Her reply, can I get that? Now, context. She'd be driving to my place later, and would literally pass an In-N-Out on the way. So I asked her to clarify. When you say, can I get that, do you mean A, instead of Chipotle, or B? Can you get that food, like me picking it up? And boom, the switch flipped. She shut down, said never mind 3 times. I told her I hate when she does that. Drops the whole conversation instead of just answering the question. That's when she hit me with, I hate when your brain doesn't move fast. It's common sense. Let me tell you something. I don't ask questions to be annoying. I ask questions to understand. I like precision. I like avoiding dumb mistakes. And I hate being insulted for trying to be clear. So I said, Linda, all I wanted was clarification. She doubled down, said if it was such a problem to get In-N-Out, I shouldn't have asked in the first place. I told her it wasn't a problem. I just didn't know if she meant I should pick it up, or if she was grabbing it herself. We kept looping around the same misunderstanding until finally, after being told I was slow, disrespectful, and overreacting, I yelled, not proud of that, but something about being insulted for trying to communicate just set me off. She hung up. I called back. 5 times. Nothing. Eventually, I gave up. Watched a movie. Cleaned my room. Slept well, weirdly enough. This morning, I called her again before work. That's when she said it. I'm breaking up with you. I'm tired of being yelled at. I reminded her that she was the one who got defensive first. That calling someone slow for needing clarification is disrespectful. She said, when you asked for clarification, I thought you were mad. I thought you wanted me to go buy my own food. That's what all this boiled down to. Fast food, miscommunication, and 2 people reacting to assumptions instead of truth. She told me to cut her off. And here's the twist. This isn't the first time she's broken up with me. She always comes back. Always texts a few days later like nothing happened. But this time, I think I'm going to let her mean it. Let her sit in the silence she created. Let her think about how many fires start from the smallest sparks, and how many were avoidable with just one breath of patience. I didn't yell because I'm mean. I yelled because I felt dismissed. Because I wanted to solve a problem, not create one. But maybe that's the problem right there. Some people don't want clarity. They want chaos. Story 8. I don't know if I'm the bad guy here, but I feel like I might be. I'm in high school and I have this friend. Let's call him John. We've known each other since middle school. So yeah, we go back a few years. We were never super close at the start, but we got tighter over time. Mostly through gaming, shared classes, and the usual teen stuff. But here's the thing. John doesn't really do anything. He doesn't have hobbies, clubs, or even many other friends. He doesn't play sports or work on projects or go outside much. His entire routine revolves around watching anime and playing video games. Which, to be clear, I'm not judging. I like games too. I like chill time. But when that's all someone does, it gets heavy. During the school year, it wasn't so bad. We'd talk after school sometimes, maybe play a few matches online. But now that summer break is here, it's like I've become his only lifeline. He started calling me twice a day, sometimes more, usually when I'm out with other friends or working on music or reading or literally doing anything else. And here's the kicker. Our conversations? Not great. Same recycled jokes. Same stories. Same complaints. He doesn't listen, doesn't ask much about me, and I started realizing something I didn't want to admit. I wasn't enjoying any of it. At first, I tried to help. I suggested hobbies, clubs, even offered to introduce him to some people online who share his interests. I tried pulling him into my world a little, maybe to give him more than just our daily call and repeat routine. But he always had an excuse. No time. He has time. Too awkward. We all are at first. Don't feel like it. That's not a reason. So I started distancing myself. I stopped answering his calls, ignored his messages. And yeah, I feel bad about that. He hasn't done anything terrible. He's not mean. He's not toxic. He's just exhausting. But now I keep asking myself, am I just being selfish? Is it wrong to want space from someone who drains you emotionally, even if they haven't done anything wrong? Or is it okay to recognize that just because you've known someone a long time doesn't mean they get unlimited access to your time? Because here's the truth. I don't hate John, but I don't think I can keep pretending that this friendship is still healthy for me. I need balance. I need space. I need conversations that go somewhere. I haven't told him any of this yet. I don't know if I will. But if he's reading this somehow, it was never about you being boring. It was about me growing and needing something different. And maybe you can too. Story 9. This morning started with baby cereal, spit up on my shirt, and an attempt to make pancakes one-handed while bouncing my baby in the other arm. It's not an Olympic event, but maybe it should be. I was juggling things like any new parent does. My husband had just gotten out of the shower, and I figured I'd surprise him with breakfast. Something simple, something warm. But I got distracted. The pan was too hot, and I flipped them a few seconds too late. The bottom side was darker than usual. Okay, maybe a little crispy, but not charred, not ruined, certainly not inedible, as he called them. He walked into the kitchen, took one look, and the comments started. Seriously, you can't even watch pancakes? They're black, burnt to a crisp. I told him I'd been feeding the baby, that it got a little hectic, that I was sorry. He didn't stop. He kept going, over and over. I don't get how you mess up something this easy. You just throw food away now? I work all week and this is what I come home to? It wasn't even about the pancakes anymore. It was about me, about making me feel small. I told him it wasn't a big deal, that I could make more, that the baby had been fussy all night and I was running on 3 hours of sleep. But he wouldn't let it go. Eventually I started crying. Not because of the pancakes, because of how fast something so tiny turned into a lecture. Because I already felt like I was drowning trying to be everything to everyone. And I burned pancakes. Not a building. Not a paycheck. Just breakfast. I threw them away. He scoffed and said, "Oh great, waste more," and walked out. Later, when he was gone, I dug them out of the trash. I needed to see what this war had been about. They weren't great. A little too dark. But edible. Not black. Not toxic. Just imperfect. I took a photo. Stared at it for too long. Wondered if I was losing it. Wondered if maybe I am careless. Or dramatic. Or bad at this. But then I looked at my baby, who had mashed banana in his hair and smiled at me like I hung the moon. And I realized something. It wasn't about pancakes. It was about power. About control. About how someone can make you feel worthless over breakfast. And I'm not crazy. I'm tired. I'm stretched thin. I'm doing my best. Would you eat those pancakes? Probably. But that's not the question anymore. The question is, how long am I supposed to swallow this kind of treatment before I say, enough? Story 10. This all started with fireworks. Stupid, colorful, overpriced fireworks I bought from a roadside tent because I wanted to bring back the tradition for the 4th of July. My dad used to set them off when we were kids, quiet ones, mostly sparklers, the occasional fountain. But this year, I decided to go big. Too big. I was in charge of setting them up. The box said, simple installation. Just bury the base, light the fuse, and back up. I thought I did it right, but I didn't pack the base deep enough. And one of the shells tipped mid-launch. 1 second we're all clapping under the stars. The next, a fireball shot sideways straight at the porch. The old wooden overhang lit up like paper. Screams. Running. Hose water spraying in all directions. By some miracle, we got it under control before the whole house went up. But the porch? Gone. Charred black like a memory you wish you could erase. Some siding melted. 2 windows cracked. The air smelled like scorched guilt for days. Couldn't sleep that night. Next morning, I told my parents I'd pay for everything. The damage, the cleanup, the repairs, every dollar. My hands were shaking when I said it. My voice barely held together. My dad? He just shook his head. No, he said. It was an accident. Your family. We don't charge family for accidents. But my mom, she didn't see it that way. She didn't yell. She didn't even raise her voice. Just said, he's a grown man. He made a mistake. Let him fix it. This is our home. That was it. But those two sentences, they split the house like a fault line. They started arguing when I left for work that morning. When I came home, they were still in separate rooms. Not speaking. The silence louder than anything else. Dad keeps telling me not to worry about it. That he has insurance and connections. But I saw the numbers. The porch alone will cost 5 grand. The siding? More. They're both retired. Fixed income. And I'm the reason their home looks like a campfire exploded on it. I've tried offering the money again. Even left a check on the table. My dad ripped it up. My mom just looked at me and said, I don't want this coming between us. But he needs to stop treating you like a boy. That one stung. Because she's right. I'm not a kid playing with fireworks anymore. I'm a man who made a reckless decision that cost them peace, safety, and probably a few years of comfort. So now I'm stuck. Between a father too proud to let me fix what I broke. And a mother who sees this as a chance for me to finally take responsibility. They've been sleeping in separate rooms for 3 nights now. I can't tell if it's about me or about something older that this incident just woke up. But I do know one thing. I'm paying for the repairs. One way or another. Whether he accepts it or not. Because love isn't about protecting people from the truth. Sometimes it's about owning it. Even when it hurts. Short update. Had the talk with my dad last night. Started calm me explaining again that I needed to pay for the damage. That it wasn't about guilt anymore, it was about responsibility. About stepping up. He said no. Again. Said I was turning this into something it's not. That's when I snapped. I didn't scream, but I definitely raised my voice. Told him it was something. Told him pretending it's fine doesn't make it fine. Told him I'm not a kid anymore, and if I'm old enough to screw up this big, I'm old enough to fix it. He shouted back. Something about not needing my money to prove a point. My mom stepped in. It got tense. Loud. Emotional. But then he stopped. Looked at me. Really looked at me. And just said, all right, if this is how you show you're grown, then show me. We hugged. Both kind of shaken, but relieved. The check's cashed now. Porch repairs start Monday. Peace was loud, but it's here. And I think we're all better for it.